Okay, welcome back to our Motzei Shabbos marathon. On this Motzei Shabbos, after a long series of Avodas Hashem, all the way starting from Elul, and as it comes to a conclusion after Shabbos Bereshis, we are showing that we are ready to serve Hashem, and Berish. Perfect timing for the second blot. Berish was watching by radar when we were going to start the second blot. And Berish we are holding by Tana Rabbanon, 2 lines from the bottom of Daf Kuf Chaf Beis Amid Beis. Very, very rare that Kuf Chaf Beis Amid Beis will still be with many blot to go. This is only in this biggest Masechta in Shas. This is by far the biggest Masechta in Shas. We have the Schia of learning. We want to learn for a soldier that was wounded, Evyata Menachem ben Zahava and Shira Basara. They should have a refuah shalema b'sech she'achel Yisrael. Tan Rabbanan. It says in the pasuk, we know there's a very beautiful word that the Gaon says that the word Bechar all over the Torah is spelled Beis Chaf Vav Reish. Only in the parsha of a double portion is it spelled Beis Chaf Reish, because every letter is double the letter before it. Beis is double Aleph, Chaf is double Yud, and Reish is double Kuf. So it points to a double portion. If it would be Beis Chaf Vav Reish, the Vav would spoil that, because Vav is not double Hey. So that's why in the parsha of Pishnayim it's Bechor defective, again because the Beis is double Aleph, Chaf is double Yud, and Reish is double Kuf. Eddie says, I knew that, but I see it in Eddie's face. But anyway, I'm saying it for I'm saying it for the lesser mortals over here. Now, the question is, when a Bechor gets a double portion, we could learn it one of 2 ways. We could say that the Bechor gets a double of a single portion. Or we could say that the Bechor takes 2/3 and everybody else splits the remaining third. Which one is it? So says the Gemara Tan Rabbanan, Laseis loy pishnayim, to grant him a double portion. Pishnayim ke'echad ata, says the Gemara. What?
The first one, not the second one. Logically.
One second, we have a scholar over here that wants to give his opinion. Pishnayim ke'echad, does it mean a double portion of just one of the portions? Ato imer pishnayim ke'echad, you say it's a double portion of just one of the portions. Or eina ela pishnayim b'chala nechasim. Or is it a double portion of everything, so that the Bechor gets 2/3 and everybody shares the remaining third? Says the Gemara V'dinu, we're going to make a comparison. Chelkoi im echad, v'chelkoi im chamisha. A Bechor divides, if he has one brother, he divides with one brother. And if he has 5 brothers, he divides with 5 brothers. Ma chelkoi im echad. When he divides with one, pishnayim ke'echad, when he divides with one brother, so he gets double the portion of that one brother. Af chelkayim chamisha, pishnayim ke'echad. He gets double of the portion of one of the brothers. Oy klach l'derech zu. Or look at it the other way. Chelkayim echad v'chelkayim hey. He divides with 1 and he divides with 5. Ma chelkayim echad, where he divides with 1. Pishnayim b'chol nechasim, he gets 2/3. And the other brother gets 1/3. That's the way it is when it's only with one brother. So af chelkayim hey, maybe also when he divides with 5, pishnayim b'chol nechasim, he should get 2/3, and the other 5 should divide the other 1/3. Talmud Leimer v'hayu b'yayim hinchilu es bonav. When a father is manchil his sons. Now, why does it repeat that? It already says that the son gets the inheritance. Why does it say b'yayim hinchilu es bonav? To tell us that the sons get more. They don't get only 1/3. They get more. The double portion is only double of one portion, not double of the whole estate. As Michal Avram so astutely prophesies, we don't say like the second shot that it's that the firstborn gets 2/3 and the others get 1/3. That it gets a double portion of one of the portions. And it also says, V'nei Ruvain b'char Yisrael, the children of Ruvain, the firstborn of Yisrael, ki hu ha'bechar, he was initially the firstborn. However, u'bechal lo yitzui aviv, when he profaned the bed of his father, we know that he moved his father's tent, his father's bed, marital bed, from the tent of he moved his father's bed from the tent of Bilhah to the tent of Leah. Nitna b'charasa l'bnei Yosef ben Yisrael. The b'chayra was switched from Ruvain to Yosef. V'loilis yaches l'b'chayra. Not that Yosef was known as the b'char. Ruvain was still known as the b'char, but Yosef got the double portion. V'aymer ki Yehuda gever ba'achiv. Yehuda was the mighty one of the brothers. Ulenogid mimenu, and he was royalty. But v'ab'chayra liYosef. So Nemra b'chayra liYosef. It says b'chayra by Yosef, and Nemra b'chayra l'dairis. Ma b'chayra amur liYosef. We'll see. Pishnayim ke'echad. He only got one extra portion because he got he got both Ephraim and Menashe, so he got an extra portion, not 2/3 of the portion. Af b'chayra amur l'dairis. So also the din of Pishnayim that it says for all generations, Pishnayim ke'echad. V'aymer, and it also says, Mani nasati l'cha Shem echad al achecha. I will give you an extra portion over the brothers. Asher lekachti miyad ha'emoiri, that I took from the Amorites, b'charbi u'b'kashti, with my sword and my bow. So the Gemara says, did he take it with his sword and his bow? V'chi b'charbi u'b'kashti lokach, v'aloi kfar nemar, it says, Hakol kol Yaakov ha'yadayim yedei Esav. Yaakov didn't use a sword and a bow. I don't put my trust in my bow. And my sword is not what saves me. My sword is a metaphor for prayer. And kashti zubakasha is a metaphor for petition. Now, we quoted a lot of psukim over here that the double portion is just one extra portion. Why did we need so many psukim? I mean, after all, Michal Avram knew it without any psukim. So, my v'aymer, what do we mean v'aymer? V'chitei mahai l'kudu Rabbi Yochanan ben Braikudas, when it says v'hayu b'yayim hanchilu es bonav, it's not telling us that the pool of other children get extra. It's coming to tell me, like Rabbi Yochanan ben Braikudas, that you could give the Yerusha to one son amongst the sons, and that's what it means. Tajmau b'nei Ruvain b'chor Yisrael. It says b'nei Ruvain b'chor Yisrael that the portion was given, the double portion was given to Yosef. Says the Gemara, v'chi tema b'chayra mi b'chayrasa gamrinan. By b'chayra l'dairis it says the word b'chora, and here it says b'charasa. You can't learn out; the words are not similar. Tajma b'chayra l'Yosef. Says the Gemara, but how do you know that Yosef was given only one portion? Maybe he was given 2/3 of the whole Yerusha. One extra portion. Papa, how do you know it's a whole portion? Maybe it's Dikla Ba'alma. Maybe it's an extra palm tree. He was given an extra portion like one of the Shvatim. So Ephraim and Menashe were Yosef's two sons. Each one was given a portion. So you see, he was given a double portion, a double one portion. Now, just getting underway over here on a beautiful Matzah Shabbos with a schia to be with everybody. I can tell you, everybody, that I had you all in mind during my davening. Everybody should have a good Gesundte Yar. We see that Yisrael Fisher is doing intense tshuva, and the Gemara tells us now, Boy minei Reb Chelboi mi Reb Shmuel bar Nachmeni. Reb Chelboi inquired of Reb Shmuel bar Nachmeni, Ma ra Yaakov shenotel b'chayra meruvein v'nosna l'Yosef. Why did he take the firstborn from Ruvain and grant it to Yosef? Says the Gemara, and by the way, even though you might want to say, well, Yosef was the firstborn of Rachel, but don't forget there was also a firstborn of Bilhah, there was a firstborn of Zilpah, and also maybe it should go to Leah's second child, to Shimon. So the Gemara first thinks that the question is, why did he take it away from Ruvain? Ma'ara, what do you mean? He profaned his father's bed. He shouldn't have moved his marital bed from the tent of Bilhah to the tent of Leah. Why did he grant it to Yosef? So the Gemara answers, let me tell you what it's compared to. A man raised an orphan in his house. After, when he grew up, that orphan became a magnate, a very wealthy person. Out of Hakaras HaTov, I will benefit him. So here too, Yosef took care of Yaakov in Mitzrayim for 17 years when there was a famine. So Yaakov wanted to benefit Yosef. Amalei v'yilav d'chata Ruvain. And if Ruvain wouldn't have sinned, he wouldn't have benefited Yosef. So it can't be that that's the reason. Because here it implies the reason is because Ruvain messed up. Rabbi Yonasan Rabcha loikach Amar. Rabbi Yonasan, your Rebbe, did not explain it, but rather, really the firstborn was supposed to be from Rachel, because Yaakov worked 7 years for Lavan to marry Rachel. The Chsiv Ela told us Yaakov Yosef. The real offspring of Yaakov was supposed to be Yosef. However, Elisha Kadmasa Leah Barachman. Leah davened. We're going to see that's why it says Eine Leah Rakos. She had lost her eyelashes because she prayed that she shouldn't fall into the lot of Esav, and therefore she came first. However, but because of Rachel's great modesty, Hashem returned the firstborn to her. So what's going on over here? What does it mean that Leah got there first and got to be with Yaakov first because of tefillah? The Chsiv, it says about Leah's eyes, the Eine Leah Rakos, and the eyes of Leah were tender. Now my Rakos, Ilema Rakos Mamish, it's a defect. They were tearing, it's a defect. Would the Torah say a defect of one of our matriarchs? Efshe bignus behema temeya loy dibra kasev. The Torah is careful even the way it talks about a unclean animal. Dichsiv min habehema Torah, from an animal that's tar, and min habehema asher einena tar. So it doesn't say an animal that's tameh, it says that it's not tar. So it's careful to speak about a tameh animal with refinement. Bignus sadikim dibra akasav, you think the Torah would say a defect of one of our most righteous women, Leah? That is impossible. As we welcome in Yeshua Shmuel Eisenberg, joining us in Yeshua Shmuel, we are on Daf Kufchav Gimel Amud Aleph, a little bit below, halfway down the Amud. So this is an interesting pshat. This is not the normal pshat that we explain. Einei leia rakos. In this usage, what we're saying is that einei over here means that a portion. And rakos means shematnoseh aruchos, that Leah had great gifts, because Leah had Yehuda, and Malchus, the monarchy, was from Yehuda, and Leah had Levi, which produced the kahuna, which is all the gifts of the kahuna. However, that's not the pshat that we are zooming in on. Ramam la'olam rakos mamish. Her eyelashes fell out. However, this is not to tell us about a defect. Chas v'shalom. We're not saying a defect in Leah. To the contrary, ela shvachula, it's a praise of her. Shoyse shemas al precious drachim. She heard by the crossroads, b'nei adam she'aim, and people would say, shnei banim yesh lo Rivka. Rivka had two twins. Shtei banis yesh lo Lavan, and Lavan had two twin girls. G'dayla legadol, the bigger girl Leah will go to the bigger boy Esav. Uktana lekatan, and the smaller one Rachel will go to Yaakov. V'oisi yeshevas al precious drachim. So she wanted to know, who is this Esav? Umashelas gadol ma'maisav. What is this Esav like? Ish rahu, he's a bad man. Molastem brias, and he robs people. Cotton ma'maisav. What about the small one? Ish tam, he's perfect. Yoshev ha'olim, living in the tents of Shem ve'ever, learning Torah. So therefore she cried till her eyelashes fell out, that she shouldn't fall in the lot of the hoodlum Esav. That's what it says. Vayara Hashem ki snua Leah. Hashem saw that Leah was hated, and she opened up her wound. My snua, Elam is snua mamish. Would the Torah refer to Leah as a hated person? It doesn't talk about the disgrace of a Talmudic animal. When it says that Leah was snua, it means that she hated the ways of Esav. That she hated the sins of Esav, and gave her a child. So now that's why Leah ended up first with Yaakov, because of the schar of her tefillah. But why was the firstborn returned back to Rachel? Yaakov told Rachel, ki ochi aviyahu, he's a brother to our father, v'chi ben Rivka, and the son of Rivka. Now, Yaakov wasn't the brother of her father. Yaakov wasn't Lavan's brother. It says Gemara, v'haloi ben achos aviyahu. Yaakov was the son of the sister of her father. In other words, Rivka was Lavan's sister, and he was the son of the sister of her father. What did he mean when he said that he's a brother to Lavan. Ela Amala, what happened was he said to her, he proposed to her, Amala mitzvahly, marry me. Amala in, she said 100%. However, you should know my father is a trickster. Miyu Abba Ramohu, my father is a trickster. V'lo yachlasei, you won't be able to best him. He's not going to allow me to get married before my older sister Leah. Amala Mayram Usei, what's his deceit? Amra Lei, so she said, Isli Aksa de Kashishiminai, I have a sister that's older than me, but he's not going to allow me to get married before her. Amallah, so he says, don't worry, he met his match. I learned in the yeshiva of Shem Ve'ever, like Reb Yaakov Kamenetsky always explained. I learned in the yeshiva of Shem Ve'ever, Shem who lived through the Dor HaMabel, and Ever who lived through the Dor HaFlaga, and I learned from them how to deal with such people. I learned from them how to deal with corrupt people. He's met his match. Amalei, so she said, are you allowed to act deceptively? Is a righteous person allowed to engage in deceit? So Yaakov said, yes, with deceptors you're allowed to. In Imnovar Titaber, with the honest, you should be honest. Vim Ikesh, but with the crooked, Titapo, you could act with deceit. So what did he do? He said, he's going to try to switch you. I'm going to give you a password. So if I don't get the password, I'll know that there was a switcheroo. Masala Simonim. Now the famous medrash is that what was the simon that he gave her? He gave her the 3 special mitzvahs to a woman, Chala, Nida, and Adlakas Haner. That's what he gave her. And by the way, that's an acronym of the name. Eddie is looking again. Eddie, I'm sorry, but I have to teach it to other people. An acronym of Chala, Nida, and Adlakas Haner is Chana. That's one of the beauties of the name Chana, because that's Chena. That's the grace of a woman. So Chana is Chala, Nida, Adlakas Haner. Kikam Leia. So when Lavan switched her and put in Leah first, Savra Rachel said, if I don't give my sister the Simonim, Hashta Michsafa Achsoy, my sister is going to be very embarrassed. She's going to be very embarrassed. So now Rachel could have done something else. Rachel could have pushed her way in and said, my father is trying to switch it. Right? She could have blown the cover. But she had tznius, and instead, Masrusinu Ni'ala, she gave up her husband. She didn't know that she would get him also. And she gave the password to Leah. Only in the morning he saw that it was Leah. Until then he didn't know. Because Yaakov gave Rachel a password, and Leah gave that, Rachel gave that password to Leah. He didn't know, they had the same voice because they were twins. Until the morning. Now, 3 lines from the bottom of Daf Kuf Chav Gimel Amud Aleph. Boy Mine Abba Khalifa Kruya, interesting name. Abba Khalifa Kruya inquired, Mirab Chia Bar Abba. Bichlalan, when you count, the Torah tells us how many people entered into Mitzrayim. If you count them, Atamoitze Shivon, we know that it says Shivim Nefesh, so Bichlalan, it says that we came down 70 people, but Befratan, when you count the names, Atamoitze Shivim Chaser Echad, you only find 69. So who's the 70th person? Amalei to Haisa im Dina. There was a twin born with Dina. The S Dina Bitai. So the S comes to add a twin. Says, well, if you're going to count the twins, then a twin was also born with Binyamin. Elam Yato Tuma Haisa im Binyamin. There was a twin with Binyamin. The because it says over there, also by Binyamin, Es Binyamin Achiv Ben Imai. And Binyamin is brother, the son of his mother. So he says, no, it's not twins. It wasn't a twin of Dinah. It wasn't a twin of Binyamin. That wasn't the 70th elusive person. The 70th elusive person was Yocheved. Yocheved, who was born as they entered into the walls of Egypt. Amar, he said, Margolius toiva hoisa biyadi. I had a precious pearl. V'atam avakesh la'avdam imeni. You want to give another pshat? Hachi Amar Rav Chama bar Chanina. Zu Yocheved. This is Yocheved shayrasa b'derech. She was conceived on the road. V'loidasa bein achaimes. And she was born as they were entering into Mitzrayim. Shenemar asher yolda Osa. Osa was Levi's wife. Asher Yolda Osa LeLevi b'Mitzrayim. Osa begat to Levi in Mitzrayim. Leidasa b'Mitzrayim. She was only born in Mitzrayim, but she was Ve'ein Harasa b'Mitzrayim. She was conceived on the way. And as I explained to you recently, the idea that Yocheved was born as they entered into Mitzrayim is that Hashem creates the refuah before the Makkah. So the Makkah would be Paro, and the refuah would be Moshe Rabbeinu. So Yocheved, who would have Moshe Rabbeinu, the refuah was put into place before the Makkah. Now, I know, Eddie is telling me, slow down. Mark is very worried. He's told his wife will be finished around 12, so, he doesn't want to, yeah, right. If I do that, then nobody would come on. The only reason why people come on is because they know that I'm dedicated to getting them out as soon as possible. Now, excuse me. Boy minei Rab Chelboy mi Rab Shmuel bar Nachmani. Rab Chelboy inquired from Rab Shmuel bar Nachmani. Ksiv, vayhi kasher yolda Rachel es Yosef. And it was when Rachel gave birth to Yosef, that's when they left the house of Lavan. Why was it that they left the house of Lavan only when Yosef was born? Now remember, Yaakov was in hiding in the house of Lavan because Esav swore to kill him. So Maishnaki Isyelid Yosef, why was it when Yosef was born? Amalei, so he said to him, Ra Yaakov Avinu, she'ein zarei shel Esav nimser ela b'yad zarei shel Yosef, that the seed of Esav, the Amalekis, will only be delivered into the seed of Yosef. Shenema v'hoya beis Yaakov eish. The house of Yaakov is a fire, but ubeis Yosef lohava. But Yosef is the flame. Ubeis Esav lekash, and Esav is the straw. So you need the flame of Yosef. So the Gemara says, but don't we find that David, who was from Shevet Yehuda, vanquished Amalek, Esvei, vayakim David smote them me'anefeshef, from dawn until the evening of the next day. So you see, it was Shevi Yehuda, Amalei. So he said the Akriyach Nevi'eh, even though you were taught Nevi'im, Loi Akriyach Ksuve, because amongst the troop of David was from Menashe, who was from Yosef. T'chsev Belechtai, it says in the pasuk, the Belechtai El Tziklag, when they went to do battle to Tziklag, Nafla alav mi Menashe, there fell upon the Amalekis from Menashe, and amongst the warriors of Menashe were Adnach v'Yozavad v'Di'ael u'Michal v'Yozavad v'Eliu v'Tzilsai Roshei Alaf and Menashe, the heads of the tribes, of the heads of the thousands of Menashe. So they battled with Shevet Yosef. Masav Rabbi Yosef, we find another battle with Amalek. Umehem Mibrei Shimon, Holchu Lahar Seir. They went to Har Seir. Remember, Esav was by Har Seir. Anoshim Chamesh Meis, 500 people, and they did battle with Amalek. Uplatya Unaarya Urefoya Uziel Bnei Yishei Beroisham. And Platya, Naarya, Refoya, Uziel, and Bnei Yishei were Beroisham. So you see, it was Shimon that did battle with Amalek. The Yaakov Sheris Hapleitel Amalek, and they destroyed the remaining refuge of the remaining survivors of Amalek. The Yeshu Sham, and they lived there out of Yom Hazesi. You see, it was Shimon again, not Yosef. Bava Basra Daf Yishi Mibnei Menashe. Yishi comes from the people of Menashe. The Chsiv Uvenei Menashe Chefer v'Yishi. Now over here, there is a very fascinating, in the notes of the art scroll, we find this sometimes a very strange anomaly, that the Gemara quotes psukim that don't exist. There is no pasuk Uvenei Menashe Chefer v'Yishi. Look at the footnote number 10. No such verse exists in the scripture, but there is a similar verse in Seder Hayomim Aleph, where it says, in the sons of Menashe, Efer and Yishi. So that's a Marsha. So this is like a transposed, abbreviated type of pasuk. Okay, Rabbi say we will stop over here because tomorrow's daf is smaller and it's a new sugya, so we'll save it for tomorrow. We did 2 long daf, and now we have 2 Mishnah Yomis to do.